Today we're going to flip this Hollywood Regency style dresser into a blush metallic with lots of gold detailing. I found this piece on my local Facebook marketplace. This is one of my favorite furniture styles. I love Hollywood Regency. I always start by removing my hardware from my piece. This piece has amazing hardware that's going to be incredible when it's all decked out in gold. Once my hardware is all removed, I clean my piece really well using Dixie Belle White Lightning. This is when I'm also assessing for any repairs that may need to be made on my furniture piece. You want to make sure and rinse away any cleaning residue using water, no matter what type of cleaner you use. Now my piece is ready for 2 coats of Dixie Belle Slick Stick. Slick Stick is a gripping primer that's going to give my paint some bite onto this enamel finish. After my Slick Stick, my next step was 2 coats of Dixie Belle Pink Champagne, which is a pale pink that's going to be the perfect base for my metallic paint finish. Let's lay on some metallic. I love to spray my metallics. It's the best way to get a really streak and brushstroke free finish on metallics. If you're not spraying, I recommend that you brush your metallic paint on in thin, even coats, building up coverage, and always make sure you have a base of solid paint in a similar paint color. Metallics tend to have less pigments in them, so this helps you get good coverage with your metallic paint. I custom mix this metallic using Dixie Belle Wedding Belle and Rosé from the Moonshine Metallics collection. Those 2 colors mixed into this pale blush that's the perfect pink for this piece. I'm spraying it using a smaller detail gun than you usually see me do. This is just an inexpensive gun from Harbor Freight, but I love it because it sprays in a smaller spray pattern, which is great for all the detail on this piece. This just connects to my air compressor using a hose. I ended up spraying 2 coats of the metallic over the top of my pink champagne base. Here you can really see the subtle shimmer that the metallic gives to my otherwise flat paint finish. When I'm spraying, I usually end up with 3 containers of paint. One is my paint color mixture that I made. The next I mix with a little bit of water, and then I go ahead and strain my water mixture. Here she is decked out in metallic. Can you see how the light hits the piece now? I've done a few pieces for this customer and they all have stripes in some way. So to make this tie in ever so subtly, I'm going to go ahead and add some stripes to the top drawers. I start by taping off my stripes using a painter's tape. I just use a little piece of my painter's tape as a spacer in between so all of my stripes are evenly spaced. I make sure to rub down the edges of my painter's tape, and then I'm going to use Mona Lisa gold leaf adhesive sizing and just brush it on in between the painter's tape. When you're applying gold leaf, you want to use an adhesive that gets tacky quickly. The adhesive size is made just for that purpose. I brush it on and then let it set up for a minute, and then it starts getting tacky and my gold leaf is going to want to stick to it right away. You'll start seeing a subtle color difference in the adhesive sizing as it turns from white when it's wet to a clear when it starts drying. You can see it right here. Once it looks clear, I'm going to go ahead and apply my gold leaf sheets over the adhesive size. This is just inexpensive gold leafing sheets that I order off of Amazon. I like the 5 by 5 inch squares because they're slightly bigger. This is imitation gold leafing. I don't buy the real 24 karat stuff. I've not found a need to. I just make sure that I seal it in a gold leaf sealer before putting my clear coat over top so that it doesn't discolor underneath. Gold leaf brushes can be pretty pricey, so I just use inexpensive blush brushes from the makeup department at the drugstore. Once my leafing is applied, I just use the nice soft brush to brush away the excess, and then I can peel away my tape. This makes perfect stripes in gold leaf. Gold leaf has a shine like no other. It has a reflective finish, but you could also use gold gilding wax or even the gold gemstone mousse from Dixie Belle for this. Then I'm just going to use my blush brush and a little bit of my fingers to rub down any wrinkling and really clean up the finish. I repeated this process across the top 3 drawers of the furniture piece. I plan to tie in other gold detailing all around this piece that ties into my gold striping. The gold is really the wow factor on this finish, so in addition to my drawers, I'm also going to have a gold leaf detail up the sides of the piece, and then I'm going to paint in some gold on the beautiful legs of this piece as well. Wait till you see what I do with the hardware. Yep, that's right. I'm going to gold leaf my hardware as well. This hardware is incredible. It's actually one of my favorite parts of this piece. I want to really make it stand out with that same metallic shimmer as my stripes. I cleaned my hardware really well by soaking it overnight in a 50-50 mixture of white vinegar and water, and then scrubbed it clean using a Scotch pad. With my hardware clean and dry, I'm going to go ahead and apply my same gold leaf sizing to the top of my hardware. This hardware is actually two pieces. It has a round medallion that sits behind and then the big gold knobs as well. So I'm starting off with just the medallions first. This is the same process you saw on my stripes where I let my gold leaf sizing get a little bit tacky. Once it's nice and tacky, I take a sheet of gold leaf and apply it over top. And then I'm just going to use the sheets that come with the gold leaf to press it into the details of the hardware. Your fingers start getting really sticky really quickly when you're working with all of this adhesive, so I try to use whatever way I can to not touch my fingers to the gold leafing. No matter what I do, I always end up pretty covered with gold leafing on the floor and my hands when I'm done with this process. It's pretty messy, but there's absolutely nothing like the shimmer that you get off of gold leaf. I let my gold leafing kind of break away a little bit as I pressed it into all the details of this hardware. I love the way that it looks with the old finish showing through the new bright gold leafing. It really goes with the Hollywood Regency style that I'm going for on this piece. With all my pieces covered in gold leaf, I'm just going to go through with my brush and brush away all of the excess. And then I'll pick them up and make sure I brush them away again. There's a lot of fall away that you're going to get from each of these. All right, as I pick this up, you can really see what a wow factor this hardware is going to be. Do you see that incredible detail with the shimmer of the gold leaf? Notice behind me, I have the medallion on the bottom of the apron of this furniture piece. It just has this great detail. I painted all that in with my adhesive size and then applied my gold leaf to that as well. Okay, let's go ahead and repeat this process onto the knobs. Do you see how messy this is? You see how covered in gold leaf my floor is going to be? Took a lot of vacuuming. I do recommend vacuuming instead of sweeping because sweeping just makes it airborne. Same thing, I applied my gold leaf sizing and then put my gold leaf sheets on top, and now I'm just brushing away the excess using my blush brush. Instead of applying more gold leaf to the back of my knobs, I just turned them over and I used a spray-on gold metallic just to make them match the color of the front. Once this was all done and all my excess gold leafing is cleaned off, I just used a super high gloss spray and I clear coated all of this hardware. The high gloss spray that I used was actually an automotive version because it's super glossy, and that was just what I had on hand. Here's where I landed with most of my gold detailing done to the front of this piece. Let's dress up the sides as well. This is a really cool look and it always gives a huge impact, so I love doing this. I'm going to go ahead and stencil with gold leafing. The first thing I do is I'm going to go ahead and tack up my stencil where I want, and then I spray the back side of my stencil using 3M Super 77 spray adhesive. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and spray over the top of my stencil, also in my spray adhesive. This is going to leave the outline of my stencil in just the adhesive. Spray adhesive is really hard on your stencils. You'll notice I have one that's pretty beat up. I keep this for when I want to do these kind of looks with spray adhesive, and then I also have a nicer version for when I want to use it with paint. I do clean my stencils just using a little bit of citrus strip. I can brush it on, and then it just scrubs away the spray adhesive and anything else that's stuck on my stencils. With my spray adhesive left just where my stencil design is, I'm going to go ahead and place sheets of gold leaf over the top of my pattern. Now when I rub away the excess gold leafing, it's just going to stick to where my stencil pattern was. I love this look when it's a little bit messy and you can just tell that there's the image of the stencil under there, but it's not perfectly crisp and clean. I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same process on the other side, putting spray adhesive, then covering my stencil design with gold leaf sheets. Here I'm just using the lightly abrasive finishing pad from Dixie Belle to rub away the excess gold leafing and expose my pattern. Can you see how it's a little bit imperfect? It just leaves the image of this pattern underneath. I love this look. I do not love how sticky I am after this process and how much gold leaf is stuck on my hand. Here are my progress pictures with the gold leaf going up the side of this piece. This is such a regal finish with the gold stripes and the gold hardware. I'm really getting excited. All right, now I want to do some small detail work, so I'm going to use gemstone mousse from Dixie Belle. Gemstone mousse is a water-based product. It goes on like a paint. I would compare it to a liquid leafing product, although it's 10 times easier to clean up because having the water base. I'm just using a small artist brush and painting it into the tiny details. This takes a little bit of time, but it's so worth it. I love that the gemstone mousse goes on with one coat coverage. I'm only going to have to do this one time, but it gives me nice, rich pigmentation where I leave the gemstone mousse. I'm just painting it into the fluting on these legs, and then I'm going to go ahead and go around the moldings on them too. The gemstone mousse is the same color as my gold leafing, but it allows me to get into these tiny details without having to do them in the sheets of gold leaf. My last step on this piece was to just add a little bit of black wax, a very soft shading around the frames on these drawers. Now my piece is complete. I did spray this one in 2 coats of Dixie Belle Gator Hide, and then I came to take my photos of it. Oh man, did she ever show up for picture day in her new outfit. This piece is absolutely gorgeous. All of the details catch the light, the metallic paint, and the gold leafing in just the right way. Photos don't even do it justice. You have to catch it in the sunlight. This piece is high luxury at its finest. As always, you can find all the materials I use in the description for this post. You can find more Brushed by Brandy on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, and on my website at brushedbybrandy.com.